Invitation. For decades and decades and decades, conservatives have been frustrated because the federal government has gotten bigger. It's continuously moved to the left. And here recently, in the last 3 years, it's lurched to the left. Republicans have sought to get people in office that would change this, going all the way back to Barry Goldwater, then with Ronald Reagan, and now, today. In 2010, we thought we had finally come and got some people who were going to make a difference in Washington, D.C. These people were elected to go to the U.S. House and fulfill their promises to reduce the size of government, to cut spending, to do the thing that every one of us knew that we wanted them to do. That's why I ran in 2010, to go up there and make a difference. Well, after 2010, the election came about, these people went to Washington, these Republicans took over the House, and this is what we've got. We've got the $2.1 trillion debt raise, this money that's going to be borrowed and spent today, with the promise of reductions in future spending growth going out all the way maybe 10 years, which are nothing but illusory promises, just talk. We've gotten Obama's big government, all the socialistic things from the 1960s, every bit of it still in place, not one thing knocked down. We're going to spend more money this year than we did last year. We've got Obamacare intact. We've got Planned Parenthood fully funded. These guys went up there and they did absolutely nothing. They talked a great game, they always do, but they did nothing. Alan Nunley voted for every one of these compromises. Every single one of them he was in on. There wasn't one he missed. Now what he talks about are meaningless votes the House passed. Well, they can vote to do anything in the House. That doesn't matter. Alan Nunley was voting against spending cuts, $157 billion plus of spending cuts back in February when the Republicans were getting set for their position to go and negotiate with the Senate and say, this is what we were elected to do, this is what we want. He voted against cut after cut after cut. He voted to fully fund, they tried to defund the Legal Services Corporation. Ronald Reagan wanted to get rid of that. Couldn't do it because of Tip O'Neill in the Democrat House. The conservatives in the House tried to do that. Alan Nunley voted against it. He wanted to keep it funded. He voted for this jet engine everybody likes to talk about. This thing was manufactured in Speaker Boehner's next door to him in the next district over. People from his district went over there and worked. So Alan Nunley voted against this engine. It was totally useless. The Bush and the Obama administration both tried to get rid of it. He voted to keep funding it because Speaker Boehner wanted to do that. Again and again and again and again, this happened. He's campaigning on meaningless votes. These are votes that have no impact whatsoever. The votes that count are the ones that are going to be signed into law, the ones that are actually going to matter. He's compromised on every one of them along with House leadership. Every single one of them. That's not what people sent the Republican Party up there to do, and these Republican House members. What we need are real fighters. Now what Alan Nunley's going to say is, oh, we're just waiting on as a Republican president and a Republican Senate, and then all our problems are going to be solved. Well, go back and look at recent history. The Republicans took over and ran Washington from 2001 to 2007. Government expanded rapidly during that period of time. Are you ready? All right, come on in. Government expanded rapidly during that time, and the debt doubled during the time Republicans were in charge. And they'll say, oh, that was the war. No, it wasn't. $5 trillion were spent, borrowed and spent during that time. Only $1 trillion of it was for the wars. $4 trillion was just money that was just being spent. Down the drain, borrowed, we don't know where it went, we'll never see it again. That's what happened the last time the Republicans were in charge. So it's not getting Republicans in charge. You saw what happened in the House this past year. The same people that were in charge from 01 to 07 are going to be in charge of the Senate and the House again. Nothing's going to change in that regard. We've got to have something different in Washington, D.C. We've got to have some real fighters. The people in this district were ready to say, no, don't raise the debt ceiling. Let's make things happen up there. The people in this district were ready to shut the government down to make things happen. And some people say, oh, that was so radical, though the markets couldn't take it. Well, this is what happened in the 1990s. Gingrich did shut the government down. He and both sides of Congress shut the government down. Then they said that was terrible for the Republicans. It was terrible for the country. What was it? When they shut the government down in the 90s, we went into 4 straight years of surplus. First time that happened since the 1920s. The economy soared because they showed discipline in federal spending. It was the slowest growth rate during that 4 or 5 year period after that than we've had in decades in the United States in federal spending growth. We had a Republican Congress for the next 10 years. That doesn't sound like failure to me. They kept the Congress for the next 10 years. Bill Clinton got elected president, but he had also signed the Welfare Reform Act the year of the election. The electorate believed he was moving to the right, and they sent him back up there. Bob Dole wasn't going to beat Bill Clinton. That wasn't going to happen. It didn't affect the Republican Party in an adverse way. Newt Gingrich got kicked out as Speaker, but that was over some really bogus things about ethical problems. The impact was that the country improved when they showed some courage up there. And if they'll show courage again, the country will begin to improve again. Yeah, there's just one house out of 2 houses of Congress and the president over there. But there were 66 to 86 Republicans who understood that they could make some things happen in the federal government. These guys were the ones that voted against the debt ceiling. 86 Republicans voted against this $1 trillion appropriations bill that they passed in December that kept the whole thing in place for another fiscal year. These guys were guys of courage, and they knew that they could control some things. And if these guys get help, if that 66 to 86 could become like 132, well then you've got a majority of the Republican side of the House, which is a majority. And I guarantee you then nothing's going to happen unless these guys say so. But it's going to have to be people of courage willing to do some things that will make things change. That's what it's going to take. Now, when you hear that you couldn't shut the government down because the military wouldn't be paid, Social Security wouldn't be paid, those are bogus claims for political posturing. If the debt ceiling hadn't been raised, 60% of the government would still have been in place. Social Security is barely out of balance now as far as how huge that program is. It has its own source of income. Social Security almost funds itself. If they would just leave the money alone and let it go in the Social Security Trust Fund instead of quit borrowing the money out to fund all these things to keep politicians elected. There was enough money to pay Social Security. There was enough money to pay the military. There was enough money to pay interest on the debt. To say otherwise is simply just an excuse to go along with the leadership to do whatever they say so that they will be favor you and keep you on these favored committees. Well, we can keep getting committee assignments, we can keep getting all these things and watch America crash. And that's what's going to come up. Soon we're going to lose our reserve currency status in the world. The dollar won't be the reserve currency of the world. And when we get ready to go buy oil overseas, and when we get ready to buy all these things we like to bring in, they're going to say, no thank you, we don't want your dollars for it. All we're doing, as the gentleman said, is printing money, and it's worthless. We can't keep exchanging this for a piece of paper. And that's what we've been doing overseas. When that ends, and that's going to happen soon because of this enormous debt we have, they're going to get tired of our promises, and they're going to quit using it. It's coming up soon, and we're going to be poorer because of it. And it all comes back to what the U.S. Congress has done over many years, but last year. That's instructive of what's going to happen in the future with the leadership we have and the people that elect that leadership up there. We need something different. We need something different now. Alan's a nice guy, but he's going to do whatever he's told to do in Washington, D.C. to curry favor and to stay there. If you really want to see the country change, you're going to have to elect people that will make it change. Not just Republicans. It isn't a club. It isn't something just to join an organization. It's people that want conservative, God-centered, limited constitutional government. The government that our forefathers gave us. We're going to lose it. All these compromises over the last 5 decades or more, really, have gone to the left. If you look at it, each time they go to the left. And who has to compromise? These guys say, well, we can't do it. We have to go along with it. Well, when you're sitting across the table with somebody else and you look them in the eye, they're either going to give in to you or you're going to give in to them. Every time, last year, every time, they gave in to the left like they've been doing for decades in Washington. Do you tired of it? Are you ready to see something different? Do you want to send a congressman to Washington that's going to join these fighters up there and stop this stuff? It's time now. We don't have much time left. That's why I'm running for Congress, is to go up there and do that, to get a hold of the country, to limit government. There's many other things. You discussed about jobs, taxes need to be lowered. Everything needs to happen that's gotten out of whack for many decades up there. That's what we need to do. And I'm not even talking about so many things. There's social decline because of the welfare state they created, kicked the fathers out of the home now for 45 plus years, and we've seen our society spiral down. The courts have become uncontrollable. Nothing's been done. The Republicans haven't challenged that whatsoever. 1803, the Jeffersonians came in and they impeached Samuel Chase over something much more minor than the things that are going on now. Shredding the Constitution. You never hear them say one word about that. Never. They could do that. They could impeach these guys and send to remove them. If we had people of courage up there, then they'd quit doing that. Next year, I'm getting off on some things I really didn't plan to do. Next year, the U.S. Supreme Court is likely to recognize homosexual marriage as a constitutional right. That is totally making it up as you go. Same thing with prayer in schools about 50 years ago, 1962. On and on and on I could go. This document that I like to use in the Civic Club speeches is a very simple document, and it's being totally disregarded. And if we don't guard the Constitution, and everybody's been in the military knows that oath, you take an oath to defend it. If we don't defend that document, we're going to surrender ourselves to socialism and to a country that we can't even recognize in the future.
To a police state.
To a police state. Just what you were describing a while ago. Wait till martial law or something like that happens, when something terrible occurs, and you will see these things come about. Just go along, get along, politics as usual. I need to stay up there so I can get more power, so I can help you, is nothing but a scheme to bring us a government that's going to fail us. It's coming up soon. That's why I'm running for Congress. I'll go up there and fight that. I'll fight to return to God-centered, limited constitutional government. And you will hear from me, and you'll be proud of what you see. That's why I want to go there, and I appreciate the support. And by the way, Alan doesn't have time to debate. He was at a fundraiser last night in New Albany for about 2 hours. Could have had a debate last night.
That's right.
He's raising money to get reelected.
He'll go to where the checks are, but he won't come to us.
So I appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. We'll bring up, we beat them up pretty hard over the NDAA and civil liberties, and I'm that guy that will call your office and stay and keep your guy on the phone for a half hour and raise my voice at him, because Al Nunley works for me. I am his employer. And so when he does something stupid, like vote for the NDAA, which violates several tenets of the U.S. Constitution, because the Constitution doesn't say that an